15 things that happened in the 70s that you probably forgot about. The 1970s were a time of significant political change and serious partying. So you can be forgiven if you don't completely remember these pop culture happenings of the decade. Now, all these decades later, some of these stories may even be news to you. 1. Diane Keaton dated Warren Beatty. Neither a stranger to high-profile romances. These two Hollywood stars dated during the late 70s before appearing together in 1981's Reds. Beatty would go on to marry Annette Bening in 1992. 2. Walt Disney World first opened. After nearly a decade of preparation, Walt Disney World opened its gates to 10,000 visitors on October 1, 1971. At the time, the park boasted 107 acres and 5,500 employees. 3. Apple released the Apple II. It's hard to remember a time before people started carrying around computers that fit in their pocket. So it can be easy for some to forget that simply having a computer in one's home was a big deal. The Apple II helped lead a revolution, bringing computer technology to the masses. 4. Bridget Loves Bernie caused some controversy. The CBS show starring Meredith Baxter and David Burney was a hit, but not with everyone. Religious groups took umbrage with the network's decision to center a show around an interfaith couple. 5. Sony unveiled the Betamax. Betamax brought consumers' favorite films into their own homes beginning in 1975. But unfortunately for Sony, their revolutionary videotape playing product was eclipsed by VHS just 2 years later. 6. Ford Pintos started exploding. Thanks to a design flaw in the Ford car's fuel tanks, the Pinto was especially vulnerable to bursting into flames if hit from the back in a collision. After an investigation by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Ford recalled all Pintos manufactured between 1971 and 1976. 7. Cher dated David Geffen. The music mogul and legendary singer and actress coupled up during the mid-1970s. Geffen helped Cher free herself from an unfair business arrangement with her estranged husband, Sonny Bono. And the two attended the 1974 Grammys together. 8. HBO made its debut. The channel that would go on to produce Game of Thrones, The Sopranos, and Sex and the City had rather humble beginnings. Its first broadcast was a long-forgotten 1971 film starring Paul Newman and Henry Fonda called Sometimes a Great Notion, which was followed by an NHL hockey game. 9. The Doors released Other Voices. The Doors were one of the most popular rock groups from the 1960s and even had a hit album to start off the 70s. But lead singer Jim Morrison's untimely death in 1971 put the remaining members in a bind. Should they go on making music without their legendary frontman? While the choice may seem obvious now, the band decided to proceed with Other Voices, which is not held in the same esteem as their previous records, to put it mildly. 10. Papasan chairs were huge. These round chairs became a fixture of many American households after being brought over from Asia during the Vietnam War. 11. Funny Face became The Sandy Duncan Show. In 1971, the CBS series Funny Face was enough of a hit to warrant renewal for a second season. When the show, which starred Sandy Duncan along with Marion Mercer and Happy Days star Tom Bosley, returned, not only were there new faces but a new title as well, The Sandy Duncan Show. It was the show's final season. 12. Jessica Lange dated Mikhail Baryshnikov. The Oscar-winning actress and ballet legend dated into the early 80s, and even had a daughter, Alexandra, together. 13. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion was published posthumously. The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit author died in 1973, but his oeuvre continued to grow thanks to his son Christopher's efforts to publish his father's work after his death. Silmarillion, which was released in 1977, was the first of his posthumous works to hit shelves. 14. Jaws 2 was a bit of a flop. Steven Spielberg's Jaws was an instant classic, but the sequel went over less swimmingly. Though Janos Swarzak's film, like the original, did well at the box office, it did not come close to the iconic status of its predecessor. 15. Home workout equipment started catching on. Thanks to machines like the Nautilus, it was now possible to get your workout in at home, which was a new trend itself. Group classes like jazzercise and less strenuous techniques like jogging help make fitness fun and accessible to the masses.